Now, usually before one of these videos, I'll try and keep a pen for at least 3 to 4 weeks, constantly using it, just to make sure that A, it doesn't break, B, I really understand how a pen actually works, and C, you can't just go ahead and use a pen. Seriously, you gotta take it out to dinner, you gotta become one with the pen, you gotta flow, you gotta interlock with it, and for that reason I'll never ever get a pen and just write with it and do 10 seconds and then make a video on it. So this review is going to be a tiny bit different because I've only had this pen for about a day and a half. This is a Pilot Parallel, and pretty much one of my friends who also has a few fountain pens, I pretty much asked him if I could borrow this, and now he wants it back. Obviously I can't borrow things indefinitely, so I thought while I'm using it, why not just quickly get a review out and just some of my thoughts on the Pilot Parallel. This isn't really going to be a review, more so a thoughts on video, just because I don't think I know the pen well enough to really give a proper review. Anyway, so my first thoughts on this pen were, holy shit, this is a big pen. No jokes, seriously. This is the Pilot Parallel, and this is a pen that I made fun of because of how large it was. This is a Pilot penmanship, and this clocks in at about 15 centimeters long. This bad boy is even bigger. Capped, this pen is going to be about 17 centimeters long, and once you take the cap off, it doesn't shrink it. It shrinks to about 16 centimeters. And it even looks very similar to the Pilot penmanship. It has a sort of antique, sort of desk pen vibe. So, also on the top, it has this, I can't call it a clip, it's because it's not a clip, it's sort of a flared sort of fin for a sort of clip. Funnily enough, it's a very similar thing that they do here. They don't actually have clips, they just sort of have a rocket sort of things. Anyway, so this pen is sort of moderately heavy. I'd say it's probably about a maximum of 18 grams. It's not a heavy pen at all. In fact, I'll tip that down to about 15 grams. Not a heavy pen. What this pen actually is more so an evolution on the dip calligraphy pen. So what I'm saying pretty much is it's an evolution on this. This is a dip pen set, and it has a wide italic nib. It finishes at a pretty much straight edge. Well, this one's a little bit oblique, but you use this for calligraphy pretty much. And before this pen came along, you had to put this in a dip holder and dip it in special calligraphy ink, because this has hardeners in it. And you dip it, do one line, and dip it again, do another, which is pretty annoying. So what Pilot did was make this. This is pretty much a fountain pen blended with this pen. So you undo it, and it has the fountain pen cartridge in it. However, it has a, I guess, a italic nib, and you can use it to do calligraphy. This one here has the 1.5 millimeter italic nib. However, they do come in, 6 millimeter, 3.8, 2.4, and this is the smallest, 1.5. Now, this is really meant for calligraphy. I don't see any way that you could possibly write with this pen and do normal writing. Two reasons pretty much being, three reasons. The first reason is pretty much the words are going to be way too big. Even the smallest one, 1.8 millimeters, is just too big for normal writing. Second reason, if you try and do normal writing, because it has such a sharp edge, and if you try and write quickly, you're probably going to dig into the paper and just end up tearing the paper, even if it's on low quality paper. The third reason is you pretty much have to hold this pen pretty much, how do I say? You gotta hold it so that this is straight up against the paper, you gotta hold it like that. If you any deviation of such, and this pen's going to skip, which will pretty much eliminate any fast writing, because when you do fast writing, you're going to rotate the pen like that, and it won't write. That's pretty much why regular fountain pens have a ball on the end. So this is pretty much just going to be down to calligraphy, which you can't do fast at all. Another thing is that you pretty much have to use this on coated paper, maybe Rhodia, Clairefontaine, or specific, calligraphy paper. Reason being is this is a pretty wet pen, and on cheaper paper, which I'll show you later, it will just bleed through. So you'll probably need to purchase this with some coated paper at the minimum. Now, why do they call it the parallel? That's to do with the way that its nib system works, because usually on a regular fountain pen, you'll have regular nib like this. You'll have ink flowing. Through here, between the feed and the nib, and capillary action will force it up through the nib and onto the paper. Now, Pilot adopted for a very different style here. What they pretty much did was sandwich two parallel plates together while having a small gap of about 0.1 of a millimeter for the ink to flow through. So pretty much two plates and a small gap, hence it's called the parallel, two parallel plates. My thoughts on how it works. I honestly think compared to this is a huge step up, if I'm honest. This pen here, I honestly have to re-dip all the time. This pen, however, I can just sit down and write and write and write, and I won't have to think about re-dipping. So if you're really new into calligraphy or just want to get into it, I'd highly recommend these. These will cost you about $10 off Goulet pens. Or if you're in Australia, it's probably going to cost you about $20 with the exchange rates and how much I've seen them. So that's pretty much what you're going to look for. The only downside I can really see compared to a traditional dip pen is if you want to use an italic holder, which is pretty much these, so you can write with it on an angle, yeah, you pretty much are limited to writing with it straight. Okay, another downside to using this compared to a traditional dip nib is because this is a parallel plate and there's not that much room for flex, they haven't added a slit in or a tine, so pretty much there is no line variation with this pen when you push down. However, with more traditional ones, this one has three slits or tines, so when you push down, you're going to get quite a bit of line variation. That being said, I do think this is a pretty cool starter for calligraphy. So let's have a writing sample and sample my sort of noobish calligraphy. Yeah. Okay, you bring me to the first part of the writing sample. This is going to be quick. This is just regular paper, just to show you how wet this pen is. So pretty much you do one stroke on regular paper and you're going to get quite a bit of bleed through. Particularly here, the bleed through is quite apparent. And even with a slow one, you're going to get quite a bit. And in fact, if you look at the back, there's a lot of bleed through there. So honestly, wouldn't recommend this on regular paper. You're not going to get good results. Alright, now you join me with the Pilot Parallel for the Rhodia paper. Surprisingly, the Rhodia actually does have a little bit of bleed through, so it just goes to show how wet this pen is. So, just to show you, this pen, this is the 1.8mm here. Turn it to its side and you can write on its side and you'll get a much thinner line. So pretty much if you pair this, turn it on an angle, you will get a line in the middle. So just going from thick to a little bit angled, 45-degree angle, and pretty much ending with the thinnest line of all. Anyway, so the font that I'll be trying to use is called Black Letter here. Now, I'm not amazing at calligraphy or anything. I'm not going to try and say that I am, but I'll try and do my best. So I'll just time-lapse this through. Anyway. Alright, so this is pretty much my attempt at writing Rhodia. As I said, there's a little bit of bleed through. Thankfully, I have a bit of paper on the bottom. I don't think this would have bled through to the other side, but oh, it almost did. Just going to show how wet this pen is, and of course, cartridges really do not last. Oh, one thing that I didn't mention before, Pilot says you should only use cartridges in this. I think that's utter crap. This came with a Pilot Con 20, and, well, my friend still has his, but it came with a Pilot Con 20 very similar to this one, and pretty much this can be used for drawing up ink. So yes, you can use a converter with this. That being said, with this pen, it was an utter joy to write with. If I tried to write with this using my dip pen, I would have had to dip at least 10 times or more. It would have been an utter pain in the ass. This I'm actually pretty happy about. That being said, there is a little bit of line variation, but that was all done through angling the pen. Yeah, so this is the, what is it, the Pilot, see, 1.5. Yeah, that's pretty much what you're going to expect if you try and write with this normally. I wouldn't try it, though you might be able to get some nice variation. Yeah. So that's pretty much what you're going to expect. Very wet. In fact, incredibly wet. It's still wet here. Lovely pen. Absolutely lovely. Not a big investment if you want to try calligraphy. Thanks for watching.